A boy touched by the darkness must sacrifice himself to end the darkness. This is the story of two boys separated by worlds, separated by decades, separated by everything except one devastating similarity. Both were marked by evil at a young age. Both carry a connection they never asked for. Both are beginning to understand that their survival might be incompatible with the survival of everyone they love. The parallels between Will Byers and Harry Potter are undeniable. Both are boys marked by a dark force at a young age. Harry's scar burns when Voldemort is near, or when the Dark Lord experiences strong emotions. The pain is involuntary, a constant reminder of the connection between them. Will's mark is different, but equally intrusive. When Vecna, or the hive-mind, is active, Will feels a cold sensation at the back of his neck. It tingles. It burns. It alerts him to a presence he cannot escape. Both boys experience visions. Harry sees through Voldemort's eyes, witnessing the Dark Lord's thoughts and plans. In Season 5, Will sees through the Demogorgon's lenses. Watches Vecna possess his next victims, experiences the hive-mind's consciousness directly. These aren't visions they can control or dismiss. They're intrusions, violations, a constant psychic bleed between their minds and the minds of the darkness they're connected to. But the most crucial similarity is this: neither boy chose this connection. Harry didn't choose to be a Horcrux. Will didn't choose to be marked by Vecna. The connection was forced upon them, a wound inflicted by the very evil they would eventually have to confront. And that wound, that involuntary link, becomes the defining feature of their lives. It isolates them, it burdens them, it makes them feel fundamentally different from everyone around them. But the real horror of this connection goes deeper than physical sensation or involuntary visions. It's psychological. It's the way the connection makes both boys feel fundamentally isolated from everyone around them, and it's the way they're forced to witness their loved ones in danger through the eyes of the darkness itself. Harry's experience in Order of the Phoenix is a masterclass in this isolation. He's angry, volatile. He lashes out at Ron and Hermione because the darkness inside him is constantly churning. But the true breaking point comes when Voldemort invades his mind directly, forcing Harry to experience the Dark Lord's consciousness. In that moment, Harry is forced to watch Mr. Weasley, Ron's father, being attacked by Nagini, Voldemort's serpent. Harry doesn't just see it happen, he sees it through Voldemort's eyes, experiences the Dark Lord's satisfaction at the attack. He witnesses his best friend's father in mortal danger, and he's powerless to stop it. The invasion is so complete, so violating, that it leaves him shattered. Will experiences the exact same horror. In Season 5, he doesn't just receive visions of the hive-mind's activities, he witnesses Vecna's next victims. He sees his friends and family in danger. The visions are so intense, so psychologically overwhelming, that his body begins to shut down. He experiences seizure-like states, cramping and shaking, as his nervous system struggles to process the psychic overload. This isn't new. Throughout the series, Will has experienced these physical manifestations of psychological trauma, his body convulsing under the weight of the connection, unable to handle the intensity of what his mind is being forced to witness. Both boys are forced to watch their loved ones suffer through the eyes of evil, and that's a psychological torture that goes beyond anything physical. They're not just carrying darkness inside themselves, they're being made to experience the darkness's hunger for the people they love most. The mental and physical toll is devastating. Every vision, every intrusion, every moment of forced connection drains them further. They're not just isolated, they're traumatized, over and over again. But here's where Will and Harry's paths begin to diverge, and where the real tragedy of Will's story emerges. Harry eventually comes to understand that he must accept his connection to Voldemort. He must accept that he carries a piece of the Dark Lord inside himself, and he consciously realizes that the only way to truly defeat Voldemort is to die himself. He walks into the Forbidden Forest knowing he will sacrifice himself. Will's realization is far more ambiguous and terrifying. He doesn't consciously accept death the way Harry does. Instead, Will is beginning to to understand something darker, that the connection between him and Vecna runs so deep that his ties to the hive mind are so intrinsic to his being that there might be no way to separate him from the darkness without destroying him entirely. The connection isn't something that can be cut or severed, it's woven into his very existence, and that means Will is beginning to face a grim possibility, not a conscious choice, but a realistic understanding that when the time comes to stop Vecna, when the final confrontation arrives, Will himself might need to go down with the Upside Down, not as a sacrifice he's chosen, but as a necessity, because as long as Will exists, Vecna's connection to the real world exists. As long as Will lives, the hive mind has an anchor. As long as Will breathes, there's a trace of Vecna that cannot be fully eradicated. Will is becoming more than just connected to Vecna now. He's becoming part of the hive mind itself. His consciousness is merging with it. His control over the Demogorgons is growing. The line between Will and the darkness is blurring, and Will is beginning to understand, with quiet dread, that this merger might be irreversible, that he might be losing himself to the very thing he's trying to fight against. It's not acceptance in the way Harry experiences it, it's the slow, creeping realization that his existence might be incompatible with the survival of everyone he loves. There's another parallel between Will and Harry that goes beyond visions and connections. It's about agency, it's about the desperate need to stop being a victim and start being a fighter. Throughout the series, Will has been protected. His mother Joyce has fought for him. Mom, it's coming! Tell me where you are! His friends have sacrificed for him. His brother Jonathan has stood by him. Everyone around him has taken action to keep him safe, to shield him from the darkness. And Will has spent years being the one who needs saving, being the one who's helpless, being the one who watches from the sidelines while everyone else fights. This season, that dynamic is changing. Will is no longer content to be protected. He's tired of being the vulnerable one, the one who needs rescue. When he went against his mother's wishes and worked with Robin to investigate the connection, when he put himself in danger to help his friends, when he risked everything to try to understand the hive mind, he was asserting control. He was refusing to be helpless anymore. Harry experienced the exact same frustration. He spent years being protected by Dumbledore, by the Order of the Phoenix, by everyone who cared about him, and he grew tired of it. He grew angry at his own helplessness. He wanted to fight. He wanted to take action. He wanted to be the one making decisions about his own fate, not the one having decisions made for him. And that frustration, that desperate need for agency, that refusal to remain a victim, that's what drives both boys toward their final sacrifice. Will isn't going to passively wait for someone else to save the day. He's not going to let his friends and family continue to suffer because of his connection to Vecna. He's going to take control. He's going to make the decision himself, even if that decision is to end it all, even if that decision costs him his life. Here's the moment that ties everything together. Here's the moment where the parallel between Will and Harry becomes so undeniable, so horrifying, that it reframes everything we understand about Will's future. In the Harry Potter series, Harry is a Horcrux. That's the fundamental truth that drives the entire narrative toward its conclusion. A piece of Voldemort's soul is bound to Harry's body, his mind, his very essence. And the Dark Lord cannot truly die as long as Harry lives. Now apply that exact logic to Will and Vecna. Will isn't just receiving visions, he's functioning like an antenna. He's been receiving a constant signal from Vecna and the hive mind, a psychic frequency that's been broadcasting directly into his consciousness since childhood. And now, in Season 5, Will is beginning to accept those powers. He's learning to control the Demogorgons. He's becoming more integrated with Vecna's network with every passing moment. But here's the terrifying part. Will has told his mother the truth that no one wants to hear. They've tried so many times to cut ties with the hive mind, so many fights, so many sacrifices, and it never really went away. Vecna and the Mind Flayer are still here, still present, still connected to Will after all these years. Every attempt to sever the bond has failed. Every sacrifice has been insufficient. The connection is too deep. The merger is too complete. And Will understands what that means. A normal defeat won't work. A normal victory won't be enough. If they want to truly end Vecna, if they want to truly close the Upside Down forever, sacrifices need to be made. Real sacrifices. the kind of sacrifice that Harry made, the kind that requires giving up the very thing that keeps the darkness tethered to reality. Will is that anchor. Will is the antenna. Will is the living connection that keeps Vecna alive. And as he accepts his powers, as he strengthens the bond with every moment, the terrible truth becomes clearer. The only way to truly defeat Vecna might be to destroy the one thing that's keeping him here. The only way to save everyone might be to lose Will. So, we return to the opening line. A boy touched by the darkness must sacrifice himself to end the darkness. Will Byers is that boy. He's been touched by darkness since he was 12 years old. He's carried that touch through every year of his life, through every season, through every battle, and every loss. He's watched his friends fight for him. He's watched his family suffer because of him. He's felt the constant, inescapable presence of Vecna and the hive-mind growing stronger, growing deeper, becoming more a part of him with every passing moment. And now, as Season 5 unfolds, Will is beginning to understand what Harry Potter understood in that final moment in the Forbidden Forest. Sometimes, the only way to save the people you love is to accept that you might not survive the battle. Sometimes, the price of victory is your own existence. But unlike Harry, who had time to prepare, who had time to come to terms with his fate, Will is still a teenager grappling with this realization. He's still learning to accept the powers he never wanted. He's still struggling with the knowledge that his survival might be incompatible with the world's salvation. He's still hoping, desperately, that there might be another way, even as the evidence mounts that there isn't. The parallel between Will and Harry isn't just about connection or sacrifice. It's about the unbearable weight of knowing. It's about carrying the knowledge that you might be the key to saving everyone, and that key might have to be broken in order to work. And it's about agency. Will has spent his entire life being protected, being saved, being the one who needs rescue. But he's tired of that role. He's tired of being helpless. He's tired of watching his loved ones suffer because of his connection to the darkness. So when the moment comes, when the final battle arrives, Will won't wait for someone else to make the decision. He won't let his friends and family continue to bear the weight of his existence. He'll take control. He'll make the choice himself, even if that choice is to end it all, even if that choice costs him his life. Because sometimes, the only way to truly protect the people you love is to sacrifice the one thing that's been hurting them all along. Will Byers may need to die, not because he's chosen it yet, not because he's fully accepted it yet, but because the darkness inside him has become too deep, too intertwined, too essential to Vecna's existence for any other outcome to be possible. And Will, tired of being helpless, tired of being protected, might be the one who makes that final sacrifice willingly, and that's the most terrifying parallel of all. Because unlike Harry, who walked to his death with acceptance and peace, Will might walk to his death with anger, with defiance, with the desperate need to finally be the one in control of his own fate.